Okay, what more musical reaction delights do we have today? From the Discord, link in the description box down below if you give a shit to know. It's where we get around the YouTube censorship around here, and you guaranteed get to send me your links and even get to scream at me on streams if you so wish when I'm live in the voice chat. So there's that as well. But yeah, Purgatory, link in the description box. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe because the only way the channel gets anywhere, period, is because it literally depends upon you. Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That being said, from the Discord, from that one guy. Ooh, nice picture. Is that yes it is. It's an AR style weapon. Nice, 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 nice. Looks like a EOTech up top. Any shoe. Imminence, surrender, lyrics video. Wait, did they add notes to that? You said all you gotta is surrender. All you gotta is surrender? I said that? All you gotta is surrender. What would I say that in reference to? All you gotta is surrender. I, I'm drawing a blank, man. What are you even what are you even talking about? Okay, well any Jew. I don't know. Ooh, wait. Maybe it's from the last video I did of theirs. Because we were talking about, it's easy. How do I simplify it? Basically, it's like easy to give in, right? It's easy, to go with the flow or some such like that. And I said, it's pretty easy when it comes to such things. All you gotta do is surrender. I think that's what that's in reference to. It took me a minute. I'm getting old. What do I say? I know, I look good. Thank you. That being said, you ready? I'm not. Imminence. Surrender from a channel called Looky See. Looky See? I got it. Okay. Okay, I'll stop. Let's. Okay. I do like these long, drawn out, like, I came up around the time when intros to songs and music were kind of long because people would they still treated music like they were wishing to be composers. You know what I'm saying? Like classical composers like Beethoven, Mozart, and all that. But then people would add their own flavor into it. I do love. It's always I'm a bit of a sucker for that. Where it's like a nice drawn in, build up to a crescendo up until you're getting closer to the chorus. I like those. Anyway, it's kind of like a warm up before you start sparring with the other black belts. You know what I mean? If someone's done martial arts, they know what I mean. Or boxing, where you got the senior guys who actually got gloves or some, you know what I mean by gloves. And you could smell the sweat every time they hit you from like all the other people in the world. It's kind of like that. You're warming up to get into it, and then I like that build up. I do. I'm a sucker for it. Let's go. Turn You know what? Yeah, very relevant. I thought it would just be like surrender and namesake only. No, I was wrong. This actually does pose a bit of a moral. Well, yeah, maybe a little bit. You know, as an internal, self-sourced, isolated to you type of thing. You know, scared to lose control, surrender. Trying to not give in, but what would happen if you did? I'm sure everybody's had that kind of a question in their brain. That's right, I'm talking to you, fool. I paid a fool who try me. But yeah, there's something to be said because everybody has this question. Like, or at least everybody who's normal, a regular human that lives closer to reality instead of the ephemeral, esoteric, and such. You know, there's been plenty of people who have the thought, like, it's a bad freaking day at work. What if all of this just burns down? Or, someone has a quarrel with someone else. And internally, they're like, man, they should just die. Not thinking in the moment about the seriousness or the intent behind it, right? But even with that, even with the, bad wishes, with the curses under the breath, with the internal monologue that dooms another, they all do add up to something, right? Everyone's had this question, what if I did? Or what if I didn't? Plenty of people are experiencing regret with saving people today. Plenty. A guy just this last week with famous case. He saved a woman from falling and breaking her skull and her neck. Basically, he saved her life, saved her from dying. And on video, it captures every single moment. Well, the woman ended up suing him for $250,000 in damages because she's trying to gain from this, from his goodwill, from his doing the heroic and good traditional man gentlemanly thing, which is to protect and save and secure, right? She's trying to take advantage of this. Poor sucker of a young man. And she's trying to claim that he's the one that made her fall down the stairs, when on video, it shows the exact opposite. Proves her a liar beyond any shadow of doubt. And this is exclusively a male thing, because it's only men this is being done to. But, treat it like just a people thing. So then the question becomes, what if I don't? Nothing happens to me, and someone else won't try to make me bear the costs of their moral failings. So the question becomes nowadays very often, what if I do and what if I don't? What if I do, when we get those calls of 911, those specific calls where it's like domestic violence, we just don't answer. Less trouble for us, and it's much easier to deal with a cleanup than a rescue. Or, like I said earlier, the normal, natural people where they're like, in that moment, what if I just let it slip? You let me know what you think in the comments down below. Which side of that would you fall under? Tell me your story. Dude, I forgot where we were in this song. Right? But you know what music is good if it activates your almonds, you know? You know music's good when it makes you think or if it's able to physically affect you. Coming back to haunt me, for I've become the architect, my own misery. What's the point when you feel nothing at all? I can tell what's real inside these walls. Surrender. What if I sold my soul to the devil and let it go? Scared to lose control. I surrender. You know what it really is? You know what it really is with the disproportionate um, human reactions we have nowadays? A good amount of it is the extra and overbearing um you know reluctance and fear towards the acknowledgement, the acceptance of, and normalization of just pure human nature. We have too much, I would think, nowadays, and a lot of it works in reverse. So think about it this way. What is most often the case whenever you react in anger and let your emotions and thoughts truly be known in a professional setting? What quite often happens when you let someone know, damn it, I'm fed up. This is it with me. You've crossed my line. Well, what most often happens, whether or not you're wrong or right? The one that is expressing it is usually the one punished. Or, fights in school nowadays. You're not allowed to defend yourself because all violence is bad. But the bullies are allowed to get away with the violence. And so the kids defending themselves get into more trouble than the bullies. Conditioning young men to quite literally force themselves into being, being incapable of self-defense. When back in the day, quite often it was a little bit expected, people would be ready to scuffle. Not only was it normal and natural, it was a consistent thing. However, the majority of extreme violence was much farther down back then than it is today. Let me see if I put it another way. There is a larger amount of synthetic control societally enforced against people to the extreme points of breaking. Okay, I think I'm failing to condense and consolidate that. Let's just get back to the music. But if you understand what I'm trying to say, let me know in the comments. All right. Let me know in the comments. That being said, let's continue. Let's continue. It's a good song. It's a good song. Man, how deep? Oh, he said, "Oh, dude, that means it is deep." Anyway, oh. Was that it? Yeah, that was it. That was pretty cool. Well, I liked it. It got me thinking, got the noggin activated. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Turn this from a 10-minute into a 15-minute one. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think? Me, it was pretty good. I like him. I like him. And what are your thoughts on that, right? Because if you take the objective and empirical based uh, approach, so basically just from an acceptance and normalization of reality itself type approach to morality and ethics, no matter which side of things you place um, surrender, it does not end up good. Because on one hand, it could be, part of some of the cardinal sins of humanity, slovenly or weak and cowardly, something to that effect. Or it could be a major mistake given you to evil, right? So, uh, selling your soul, and letting it go in order to gain something in return for what you think it might be worth. But then again, you could look at this from different directions, I would say. But what do you think? What do you think? You let me know in the comments down below. All right, you know what time it is. Be good. Be safe. Make it left for yourselves. Don't compromise safety and security for nobody and nothing. Death and disaster is only a second away. Do what you can today, and I'll see y'all in the next one. I am Badger 7 Actual, the formerly homeless veteran Blast Cat Badger, out.